Alright, welcome to Academic Digest class. The question we have says, how many 4-digit numbers can be formed from 03678 if A, repetition is allowed, B, repetition is not allowed, C, repetition is allowed and the number formed are less than 8,000. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are even. Repetition is not allowed and the numbers are even. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are odd. So let's go back and start with the first one. So how many 4-digit numbers can be formed from 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9? So notice that this is the word formed is for combination, but in this kind of question order matters, because first of all, if I want to form a number, a 4-digit number, let's say if I happen to put 0 here and let's say I put 3, 6, 7, this is no longer a 4-digit number. And they're asking me to form a 4-digit number with this. So order matters. When order matters, what you're doing is permutation. Permutation is what you do when order matters. So that means 0 can't start this. Can't start the 4 digits. But if I have, let's say, 3, 6, 7, 8, 3,670, this is a 4-digit number. So which means that 0 can start it. So let's say I have to make a 4-digit number. That means if I'm making this 4-digit number, when I'm starting it, I have 5 options and not 6, because this is a total of 6 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I'm starting it, I have 5 options. So I'll come and write that 5 times. So if I start it with 3, let's say I start it with 3 now. 3. If I start it with 3, notice that I have given to me 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I want to make 4 digits. If I pick this 3, the minute I pick this 3, I can now start with, I can even have 0 after it. So that means when I'm starting, I don't have this option. But the minute I start with any of this number, I still have this to be my option. I have this. For example, if I have 0, that is, if I start with 0, it won't work. But if I have this now, let's say I've removed this, it's now here. Notice that if I come and put 0 here, that is, if I come and have a number that gives me 3, 0, 6, 7, this is a 4-digit number. See, it's 3,067. So for that reason, I will now ask myself, remember that permutation, or what we are doing in permutation and combination, is not actually maybe trying to multiply, to get a number rounded up, but rather what we are checking is the possible ways that we can go about this. So that means if I pick 3, if I come again to pick, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. So which means that in the point where I'm coming to pick this 3, when I picked it, I had 5 options. And the point where I'm coming to pick any other number here, I still have 5 options. So the minute I pick that 5 options, now notice that I've taken this now. So the minute I come again to pick, you see that I have 4 options. And the minute I come again to pick, if I've removed this now, I'll have 3 options. So this is when, this type of case is when it's not repeated. When I have to pick from values that are not repeated. So this is how I go about it. But let's say in this case, in this case, I'm going to pick. Remember the question, they said repetition is not allowed. Repetition is not allowed. So if repetition is not allowed, this is my answer, A. When repetition is not allowed, it's going to be 5 times 5 times 4 times 3, which is the same thing as saying I cannot pick 0 when I come first time. So I have 5 options. This is it. So that time I have 5 options. I said, for example, let's say I picked 3. That's why I wrote it there. So if I pick 3, I have 5 options when I did that. So if I come again now, this time around, since I've picked a number that is not 0, what can come after it? What can come after it can now be 0. So that means I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. I wrote it. And the minute I pick that, I'm now left with 4 options. So if I come again, I meet 4. Then if I come again, I meet 3 options. And remember, it's 4-digit number I want to make. So this is my answer. Multiply this. What you get is your answer. So you get 300 digits numbers can be formed. Or you say 300. So I normally put the units. This is of no use. So in 300 ways, or you say 300 digit number can be formed from this. So what of a situation now? The B part says, the B part. Okay, wait. Is the B that said repetition is not allowed? So this thing will solve this for the B. B, repetition is not allowed. So when repetition is not allowed, cannot be repeated. So when repetition not allowed, this is how you go about it. But let's say we go back now and see this same question for the A part. For the A part now, let me rewrite it. I have 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember that this is the B part. So let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. But I know that 0 cannot start it. And I want to make 4-digit number with this. 0 cannot start it. 0 can't start it. So for that reason, when I come here, I have 5 options. 5. Now, once I have that 5 options, the minute, let's say, in the 5 options I have, I can pick 3, I can pick 6, I can pick 7. The minute I pick any of these, and remember this is a 7-digit number, and which means that the minute I pick any of these, I am now going to have that opportunity. I'm now allowed to have 0 come after it, because 0 can come after any number. But when it's starting it, it means that it's not a 4-digit number. So I can have now option of 0. Okay, so now that I know this, remember that in this case, the question says repetition is allowed. Repetition is allowed. So if repetition is allowed, let's say how many 4-digit numbers can be formed from this 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, if a repetition is allowed. So if repetition is allowed, it means that I can have this 3 occur, since the total number here is 6, I can have it occur in 6 places. I can have it occur 6 times. Even the 0, so provided it's coming after this, you see that the only number of times 0 can occur is like 5 times, because it has to come after a value. That is after a number that is not 0. So now even the 7 here can occur 6 times. It can occur 6 times, since the total number here is 6. So for that reason, every number that I have here, for the fact that is coming after 0, can occur 6 places, in 6 places. So for example, I can have this 3. This 3 now, if it's repeated, if I'm allowed to repeat, I can have it to pick these 4 digits. I can have it to pick the 3 to occur 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can have it occurring 6 places. So for that reason, I say whenever I'm doing this and it's repeated, all you need to check is to check the total number given, which in this case is 6. even if they come and call this another thing. So far as the total number given is 6, the only option that will not happen is this first one. So I will just say 6 times 6 times 6. So this is going to be my answer. Now, assuming I have, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they ask me, or they tell me that, how can I pick 4 digits here? How can I pick 4 digits here? And to pick that 4 digits, they tell me that repetition is allowed. Notice that I have total of 5 numbers here. This is 1. This one can occur if repetition is allowed. They did not say the number of repetition. So it can occur 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The 2 can also occur if I'm picking. They said repetition is allowed, which means I can have as many 2. I can have up to 5 2s. I can have up to 3 2s inside here. So if I'm to pick, I can pick this 3 throughout. If I'm to pick these 2 throughout. So if repetition is allowed, it simply means that everything in this place can actually occur in the number of places here. So that's what it means. If I have, for example, a die, I know that it has, when it occurs, it will show me 6 or option. It has the option of occurring in 6 places. So for that reason, if I happen to know that this can be repeated, that this is able to repeat, it means that I have that option of when this is occurring in 6 places, since what I have here is 6. But remember that what I want to make is 4 digits number with it. So I can simply say 1 can occur 6 times. I can repeat it the whole 6 times. 2 itself can occur the whole 6 times. 3 itself can occur the whole 6 times. 4 itself can occur the whole 6 times. So I just write 6 times 6 times 6. But assuming what I have here is 0, I will now say, assuming what I have here when I started is 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to make 4 digits or 3 digit number. 3 digit number from this. I will say 0 cannot start this, because if 0, for example, if I pick 0 and 23, is 23 2 digits, not 3 digit number. So 0 cannot start. So for the first option, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have 4 here. When I come here, what I actually have is 4 and not 5. Now the minute I pick 4 as my options available, I will now go back. If these things can be repeated any number of times, they did not give me the actual number of times it can be repeated, and I'm to pick 3 digits from it, I will simply say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can occur in 5 places, so times 5 times 5. So whatever you get is your answer. So let's focus on the one we are given. So for option A, which says we should get 4 digit number when repetition is allowed, I'm going to have 5 times 6 times 6 times 6. So it's going to be 1008. 1008. That's my answer. And they said again, the next one, they said repetition is allowed. Repetition is allowed. Now option C, number C, repetition is allowed and the numbers formed are less than 8,000. Remember that this is where we are getting from. They say repetition is allowed and the numbers formed are less than 8,000. So let's just write it out again. I have 0, 3, 8, sorry, 3, 8, 6, 3, 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want to get it. I want to pick 4 digits numbers, and those 4 digit numbers must be less than 8,000. Notice that if 8 starts this, if 8 starts anything, and I'm making 4 digits, I will have 8,000, maybe 999 is more than 8,000. If 8 starts it, the minute 8 starts it, I'm going to have something more than 8,000. If 9 starts it, I'll definitely have something more than 8,000. So the options I have are simply from 7, 6, and 3. If 7 grows from 7,999 is still less than 8,000. The same thing with 6, the same thing with 3. And remember that 0 can't start. 0 can never start. If 0 starts, it is no longer 4-digit number, because we want to form 4-digit number. So that means that on starting, we don't have this option. We don't have this option. We don't have this option. We only have 3 options. So I'll write 3. So that means if I have 3 options and they said repetition is allowed, repetition is allowed, which means as I have these 3 options on starting, remember that the total number, so I can start with 3. When I start with 3, repetition is allowed. That means any of these can occur 6 times. This can occur 6 times. Once 3 is starting it, I can have 6 numbers occurring here since the total number is 6. But what I'm looking for is 4-digit number. So I will now say times 6 times 6 times 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So the minute I pick the first one, the minute I pick the first one, which is from this, 3,999 is less than 8,000. 6,999 is less than. So the minute I pick this first one, anything I do here, even if it's repeated, even if I pick 3, 3, 3, 3, that is, since I have the option of it repeating, let's say I pick 3 in 6 places 6 times. That means that, see what that means when repetition is allowed. It simply means that I have 3, I have 3, I have 3 6 places, I have 3, I have 6, I have 6 in 6 places. So if they tell me to pick 4 digits when repetition is allowed, I can choose to pick only this for my 4 digits. Choose to pick only this for my 4 digits. So you see, by the time you do this, whatever you have is your answer. So let's punch. I have 3 times 6 times 6 times 6. So you have 648 ways of doing this. So 648 is your answer. Now, let's move to the next one. Next one, they said repetition is allowed. Wait. That's the C that we just solved. So they said repetition is allowed. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are even. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are even. D, option D. Repetition is allowed. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are even. Alright, so remember what the number we have. 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is our option. And we want to make 4-digit number. But this time around, the 4-digit number is allowed, as in we are allowed to repeat. We are allowed to have this 0, like in 6 places that this occurred. Allowed to have this in 3 places that, in 6 places that this occurred. Allowed to have 6 in 6 places that this occurred. That's what repetition means. Allowed to have this in 6 places that it occurred. So if I know this and I'm asked to pick this in such a way that I will have even number. We know that even numbers are numbers that does not end with odd numbers. This is an odd number. This is an odd number. This is an odd number. So in making this an even, I can't have this. I won't have this. I won't have this as my last number. So I just have 1, 2, 3 options to be my last options when I have this even. So to have an even number out of these 6, I will only be able to get that when the last number is around 0, 6, and 7. For example, 3, 6, 7, 8. Then 7, 6, 9, 0. these are even numbers. So whichever way you do it, so far as the number ends with these values, it will be even. But when you put an odd number there, it won't be even. So notice that those odd numbers won't happen to be at the end. So that means I have 1, 2, 3 options to be the last numbers that I'll have here. Then again, definitely, you know that when I'm doing this, 0 can't start because I want to make 4 digits number. 0 can't start. So that means I have 5 options for the starting. I have 5 options. I told you always look at permutation questions as options. I have 5 options for the starting. Now, since they said repetition is allowed, anytime they tell you repetitions is allowed, what I want you to do is to simply count the available numbers given to you in that question. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is total of 6 numbers given to me. Total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's 7, if it's 8, just if they tell you repetition is allowed, just the number there is your available option because it can occur that number of times. So I'll just come and write 6, 6 times. So when you punch it, whatever you get is your final answer. So let's do it. We do 5 times 6 times 6 times 3. So I have 540. So 540 ways. That's my answer. That's my answer. So you see that's why I say visualizing aspect is very important. You can work this with formula, but you see how should I say how much of understanding you need to get about this when it has to do with visualizing aspect. So they said repetition is allowed, is not allowed, and the numbers are even. Okay, that is E. Repetition is not allowed and the numbers are even. So this place repetition was allowed, but in the next one repetition is not allowed, and remember it's 4 digits we want to make. And for it to be even, we said that we have just 3 options, which is 0, 6 and 8 to be the last. So 3 options. Then 0 can't start, and when 0 does not start, in order to make 4 digits, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers available. So if I know this, the minute I have this now on starting, I have this picked. The minute I have this picked, any of these picked, 0 can now start. So I now have total of 6 numbers again. Are you seeing it? And remember that I've picked 1 already. That time that gave me this 5. I picked 1 from here, so it went out. And when I picked it, it simply means that I have 5 remaining, which is 0 and all these things. Or I have 5 remaining now when I picked it. So in the starting, 0 can be among. I have 5 options. Now when I pick any of these, 0 can now be among, because it's 4 digits I want to form. So that means I now have 5 options. I still write my 5. And the minute I pick 5, coming again, I have 4 options. So this is what you have. See what I mean? I have 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And to form even number, this cannot be the last number, this cannot be the last number, this cannot be the last number. And remember what I'm trying to form to pick is 4 digits number. So I have just 1, 2, 3 options. 0 can't start it. So if 0 can't start it, at the first place when I want to pick my first numbers, I have just 5 options. I pick it. So let's say I picked this number now. Let's say I picked any of this number on the start. Remember, this thing is for the last parts. So that means that the minute I pick any of these, I pick 3. That's now to start. I have 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. To start, I said that I cannot have 0. So let's say this 0 gets out. I'm picking from this option. If I pick this now, notice that the minute I pick it, to form 4 digits, 0 can come after this and I'll still have a 4 digits. But if I have 0, 3, 6, 7, this is just 3 digits, not 4 digits. So but if I pick 3 and I have this can now give me 4 digits. So the minute I pick this one, notice that I now have 0, 6, 7, 8, 9 as my options. So still 5 options. So I'll come and write it. So the minute, let's say I pick this one now, I have 4 options. So I'll come and write down 4. it has given me complete 4 digits. So when I do it, when I punch, I now get my final answer. That is the number of ways that I can pick these digits. So which is the same thing as saying 5 times 5 times 4 times 3, which is equal to 300 ways, or you say 300 digits. Very simple. All right. They say repetition is allowed and the numbers are odd. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are odd. I want to do this one here. F. Repetition is allowed and the numbers are odd. Remember the number is 3. 0, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Repetition is allowed. And the numbers are odd. First of all, if I'm to have odd numbers, they have to end with this, this, and this. That is for me to get odd number, which means that if I'm to form the 4 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever you are doing even or odd number, you need to first of all go and check your options in the last place. Note it, note. Whenever you are given to select from numbers and they are asking you that you must have odd number or even, you need to go to the last place, because the last number in every number setup, in every digit system, determines whether it will be even or odd. So I can't have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all those setups or here, all those factors of 2. I can't have it as my last number when I'm doing odd number. So I just have 1, 2, 3 as my option, and I can't have 0 as my last. So I just have these 3 options to be the last. Now I know that 0 can't start, and if 0 doesn't start, I have 5 options here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. Now they said repetition is allowed. Shibi, I remember another trick I taught you. I told you that if they say repetition is allowed, simply go and count all the numbers, everything given to you, total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means each of these number can occur 6 times. In 6 times, it means repeatedly. So times 6 times 6. So by the time I do this, because they say repetition is allowed, I get my answer, which is 5 times 6 times 6 times 3. I get 540 ways or digits. So this is my answer. But let's say they gave me this question and they said repetition is not allowed. All I will simply do is to say my 4 digits. For the last part, the options I have is 3 options. That is 3, 7, and 9. Then the beginning part, I can't have 0, so I have 5 options. 5. Now, the minute I pick 5, notice that I've removed one thing. I'm now left with 5 numbers remaining. So times 5. And the minute I pick the 5th one, I'm now left with 4 options times 4. It doesn't, the number there does not matter. What matters is the outcome, the things you have. So I'll have 5 times 5 times 4 times 3. So I'll have 300 ways. Bless, subscribe. Okay, let's say they ask me, they say how many numbers may be formed using 4. That is this particular one, this one up here. Another question, how many numbers may be formed by using 4 out of the 5 digits? So see it now. How many numbers may be formed by using 4 out of the 5 digits? So let's say it is in this kind of question, they are supposed to indicate if it's repeated or not repeated. So in this case, let's say it's repeated. So if it's repeated, I'll simply have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. I'll simply have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. That's the total number I'll have. But assuming it's not repeated, I'll simply have 5 times 4 times 3 times 2. See what I mean? They said how many numbers may be formed by using 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are not the same thing, I will use when it's not repeated. So this is going to be the same thing as you seeing it as saying pick 4 things out of these 5. When I come here the first time, I will see 5 options. Come the second time, let's say I've picked this. Then come the second time, I see four options. Remember, it's 4 digits we want to get. Then come the third time, I see 3 options. Come the fourth time, I see 4 options. That is, if I come here, I see 5 things. When I pick any of them, I have 4 things remaining. When I come again and pick another one, if I come again, I have 3 options. When I come again, I have 2 options. Sorry, I have 2 options. So by the time you multiply this, that's what you have. And this is a case of not repeated. Assuming they ask you when how can you pick 4 out of these numbers when it is repeated. So let's do this first of all. So this can happen in 120 ways. But assuming they ask me, how can I pick 4 out of 4 digits? Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When these values are repeated, which means this one can occur. I can repeat this one 5 places. I can repeat this to 5 places. I told you, whenever they say repeated, just count the number of values you have there. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values. Just say to make the 4 digits, each number can occur 5 times if it's repeated. So by the time I do 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, I get 625 ways. Very simple.